three things that beginner users who use ChatGPT do that don't allow them to get things right. They just do things wrong the first time they use ChatGPT. Well, the truth is that many of us, even if we're not beginners, do things wrong using ChatGPT. And I'm going to tell you what those things are. And it doesn't need to be something difficult that can just tweak the thing you're trying to do to fix what you're doing in ChatGPT. So, three things. You're probably giving too broad of context in using ChatGPT. And maybe you're not even giving context at all, like you're missing it, or there's no example on what you're trying to do using ChatGPT. So, my sister and I, we wrote a book, Noise to Navigation, with regards to generative AI. Big picture, how to use ChatGPT, what's going to happen to you if you get left behind, if you don't use generative AI. Are you not necessarily are you going to lose your job, but can you get better at your job? And do I talk a little bit about that in the book? Absolutely. Three things. And I want to show you what those things are. And this is really in chapter 2 and chapter 3. Like using ChatGPT or any generative AI platform, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, Cloud, how can you use it to get the information that you use, that you're asking it to do? It could be a task, it could be a prompt, it could be you want it to you give it a question, a statement, things like that. So let's go into ChatGPT and see what we can do so that we can figure out how can we get it to slow down and do what we want. Because if you're giving it too broad of a question, it's going to give you a very broad and a lot of information. So let me share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. So this is my free version. I use ChatGPT. I do have a paid version. I highly recommend it if you're using it a lot because it starts to understand who you are as a person. No, it is not a person. Remember, you are the pilot. You drive generative AI. You do not allow it to be the pilot for you. It'll do all the work for you. We know that because if you have children in high school or they know how to access this, they will give it a homework assignment and it'll do all the work for them. And I can give you an example of that. So let's ask ChatGPT a question. Now, notice that I am on openai.com. So if you've never used ChatGPT before, you can Google OpenAI, or you can just type in ChatGPT in the search engine. And I'm going to select log in, and I'm going to log into ChatGPT. Now, it already knows who I am, and it's figured out, it can find me on the internet now. And some of you are like, oh my gosh, it can find me on the internet. If you're on social media, it can find you. If you have that thing that's the smartphone, it knows who you are. So we're going to have to set that aside, and that's another day, another conversation. So we can ask ChatGPT some questions. Now, I don't know what industry you're in. I'm in education. I work directly with my sister, and she's a real estate agent, or she's a broker owner. So we tend to do the crossroads of real estate and education, and we use generative AI to have conversations that are meaningful. Now, I am not an agent. Let's be clear. But we can ask ChatGPT a lot of questions. And let's say you're a parent, and I'm in the state of California, and you ask it some questions. Whatever is on your mind, you can ask it. So whatever I ask ChatGPT is what I'm thinking about. You have to remember that. So even if I show you some examples using ChatGPT, you have to remember it's my information, and you can ask ChatGPT whatever you want to ask it. Typically, people think or are afraid of using ChatGPT because they think they're going to break it. You're not going to break it. It's an online platform. It's not like when you had a computer and you think if you log in, you're going to break it. Or if you're using Microsoft Word, you think, oh my gosh, if I hit enter, I'm going to break it. You're not going to break it. We're not talking about dropping fluid or pouring fluid on your laptop or your computer. We're talking about an online platform that you can play with. So we're going to ask ChatGPT to do something for us and give it some context. Now, you can type something right in, or there's a microphone. I can dictate, or I can use the voice mode where ChatGPT can talk back and forth. That is great to use if you want to have a conversation or if you're learning a new language. ChatGPT is wonderful about listening to how you speak. So that one's a feature that I really do love. But dictation, it types faster than I do. I assume I'm new using ChatGPT, and I'd like to know everything that you can tell me about ChatGPT. Can you do that for me quickly? Hit the check mark. And now it's doing that for me. Okay. So now it's thinking, it's talking to me because it knows who I am. It's giving me a lot of information. Look at this. ChatGPT is a large language model, an LLM, and designed to understand natural language, general text, reason through problems, and support users across a wide range of tasks. Now it's just going on. Now, at least it's shorter for me, but that's really broad. Like, what can I do to give it some context? Because remember, it tends to give you broad information, and this might be good information. Now, can you explain to me how about ChatGPT and what it is from my perspective? Meaning, I am an educator. I work in the state of California. I help support data analytics, big picture, public data, and bring it down to a place where the public can understand it. What would be a perspective that you can give me on how I could use ChatGPT to help me frame some designs of learning that can support people in my local area? Now, let's just assume that I am in Northern California and I work for a San Francisco school district. Now, I don't work for a San Francisco school district, but I told it that. And if I really wanted to give it more context, I could actually go to Google, which I almost want, let's not go to Google because let's stick here. Because I was actually going to ask it, give me some school districts in San Francisco, but I can ask ChatGPT that. So we'll give it more context if I need it because I don't know the school districts in San Francisco. So here it is from your perspective as an educator and data focused leader in Northern California School District. ChatGPT becomes a cognitive partner that can help translate complex public data into learning experiences that are accessible. Okay, it's telling me what I could do. Additionally, ChatGPT can help you design learning arcs around data literacy itself. For instance, you can ask it to outline multiply sessions, workshops that build educators' capacity to interpret dashboards. This is great. Can you give me this in bullet form, markdowns? It's a lot to read, and I really appreciate the reading. And then assume that you know what school district I work in. So find one school district in San Francisco that we can talk about, and um, and then find me a data source that we can use, public data. Now I can give it more context because I know the public data is the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress and the California School Dashboard. So we're going to say find me the website for the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, the test results, not the platform.org, but the ETS test results. Now, remember, I know this information. I am not expecting you to know this information because remember, it's my information, my context. So if you're a teacher and you're an elementary teacher, a middle school teacher, a high school teacher, maybe you're a principal or a leader, give it that context. If you are in real estate, give it the context. I work in, I'm new, I'm a veteran. I work in this town, this area, and here are all these activities that we're doing in this area. I work for a Fortune 500 company and I do this, this, and this. Like, give it your context. Remember, it's this based on my context. And I think sometimes when I do videos, people shy away and they stop because they're like, she's talking about science and molecules. I'm giving it context, my perspective. Use cases. Here are some use cases here. And I want you to see, it says use cases of ChatGPT in your work. So remember, I'm just asking it how I can use ChatGPT right now. It was really broad at first. I gave it some context. So translate large scale public data, generate analogies, design professional learning models, adapt your content to different audiences, educators, parents, community partners. I would even say real estate agents, because real estate agents, I'm aware that you have to, based on equality, you have to give all of your clients the same thing, which you should, because you shouldn't be telling one person one thing about an area and another person something else. And because of that, I can show you some information on that. But this is good for the general public. I think the general public, whether you have children or not, should know about the state assessments because we want to make sure that our students are gaining knowledge. They're the next generation that's going to possibly help us, like doctors. Create prompts, tasks, or case studies, assist in developing communication templates. And notice it put it in bullet form. It even gave me cute emojis. example district and public data, San Francisco Unified. It gave me a link here, which if I click on, it takes me to the Department of Education and gives me a little bit of information about this school district. Public data source. This is the CAS results website, which we can go there too. Great. Um, and I know that's right because I go there a lot. And then it also, let's see if we click on this one, the same site, because it may not be able to go directly to the school site, to the school's data yet. And then for SFUSD results, you can select the district and drop down and review achievement levels. Okay, so now it's telling you how to do the achievement. Oh, it did it. Okay, step back. ChatGPT is smarter. So this was this. It gave me this link again. It gave me this link twice. And then what it did is it went straight to the state page, which I think is a good idea. It went to the state page and it told me what to do. For SFUSD, you can select the district in the drop down and review achievement levels such as met or exceeded standard. It doesn't really, this is where it's telling you to type in the school district. So I could type in San Francisco Unified. And I know I'm spelling that wrong. It's not ChatGPT, so it's not going to, let me do it like this. And let's go find it. San Francisco, this is it, San Francisco Unified. It has a lot of sites. So if you just click enter, it's going to take you to a new page, but it gave me the public data. So context is everything. Too broad, it gave a context about what I do. I play in this sandbox. I look at county, state, district data. So you give it context. So if you're a real estate agent, you can find public data. If you are a researcher, you can find public data because the primary source is the best. Primary source. Remember that. It's the first source. Secondary source, there are other sites out there that will give you this, like great schools. This is where they get it from. So you'd rather go here to get the data. So those three things, remember, I don't be, if you just ask it something very broad, it's going to give you broad. If you give it context, it's going to break it down for you. And the last thing is if you give it an example, like this is the data. If I give it an example and I am going to hopefully not drop this mic because this tends to drop for me, I'm going to take a screenshot of this and I'm going to take a screenshot and now I'm going to go here and add some data. We go to my desktop and put it here. Now, what's great is I can ask ChatGPT a question. This is the San Francisco Unified School District, both mathematics and English language arts, the not met, nearly met, met, and exceeded data. Can you put this in a graph for me to make it easy to view for the public? And then give me one summation and then cite this source. Now, again, context, my language. You don't have to know anything that I'm telling you. You just need to know that you have to give ChatGPT context. So now it has that last thing, which is an example of what I'm talking about. I gave it an example. I put it into ChatGPT. It's analyzing the data. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do, but this is absolutely amazing to do. And while it's thinking in the noise to navigation in this book, I talk about the prompt crafting, which is just like writing a sentence. You tell it who you are. If you're a teacher, real estate agent, you give it some context, which I did, and I gave it an example. Now, task and format and tone, sometimes that's just automatic, but tone could have been make this formal, make it encouraging, make it appropriate for whatever it is, how you're feeling. So now let's go back to what it did. So it did this for me. Here's a graph. Now, I know that I would prefer colors. Is there a way that you can make the colors the same as the graph? Like notice that exceeded was blue, met was green. I believe that nearly met was like an orangish yellow color and not met was red. Can you do that for me? And do that for me separately the way you have it now. Make the graphs interactive. And then can you do the same graph and make one graph? So make these two graphs and then make one graph of exceeded for ELA and math in one graph. In one, so make the exceeded, met, nearly met, and not met in one graph with both ELA and math. And then I noticed that you have a different interval scale on the left for the y-axis. Go ahead and make that y-axis 0 to 100 because that perspective is what I would like to actually see. No, actually don't do that. No, remove that. Make the met and exceeded go up to both 35 for both so I can see that. There's a reason why I wanted to do that because I'm not doing a stacked bar graph. And I realized that as I was talking, and if I had seen it, I would have been like, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So this tends to take a little bit of time because it's analyzing and that's okay. But context again, this was the prompt crafting definitions. I took these directly from OpenAI's platform. They have a prompt engineering guide for fun. Read it. It's hundreds upon hundreds of pages. But what I found is these are the main things. I tweaked little things like persona and exemplar is their exemplar. It could mean, which means example. Format is the structure. Do you want it paragraph? Do you want it to be bulleted? Do you want that markdowns? And then tone is choose an appropriate tone. Is it formal? Is it encouraging? Is it neutral? Like think about, is it for collegiate level? Things like that. So let's go back and see. So now it did what I asked it to do. And it's still not interactive, which that's another day because I would want it to be interactive, but you can see clearly that these are the two that they put together. I wanted to point that out is in the middle here. They take met and the met and exceeded and put it together in the middle. So context. So I may have wanted to do that. And then nearly met and not met, they don't separate here for you, but this is a great place to start. It doesn't matter what data you use, but I like using public data. I don't put personal or private data in ChatGPT because it's usually it's embargoed. You don't want to do that. So if it's personal data and you have clients, you work in an industry where you have to actually sell something, you don't want to put data in there. If it's public and broad, fine, absolutely. So again, context. First, make sure that if you're going to be broad and you start putting that data or information in ChatGPT, start giving it context. Tell it what you really want. And it's going to take some time and that's okay. Give it an example, an exemplar, and then see what it will give you once you do that. So make sure you subscribe. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Amazon, grab the book right now, Noise to Navigation. I know it's hard to see right now, but go ahead, grab it and support us and tell me what you think. You can read every chapter. It's a quick read, or you can read one chapter at a time. Doesn't matter what order you read it in. It will flow from chapter to chapter, or just choose the chapter of your liking. Chapter 2 and chapter 3 are the hows and the whats. So that one I really appreciate. And again, make sure you subscribe and comment. Tell me what you're thinking about generative AI.